Hello, everybody. Derick Mildred is my name, and today we're going to do a LinkedIn profile checkup for my friend Jasmine Roy here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can crank up your LinkedIn profile, how you can take your LinkedIn profile to the next level and beyond. Everything that you should have on your LinkedIn profile that's going to help you with either job search or increasing the interest in your role within your business, the services that you offer, etc. Okay, so I'd like to welcome Jasmine Roy to the call today. How are you, Jasmine?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here, Derick. I'm well.
It's a pleasure. And Jasmine, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with LinkedIn and what you're trying to accomplish with your LinkedIn, or what you would like LinkedIn to do for you?
Essentially, I just graduated 3 weeks ago. So I'm looking at LinkedIn to, as you know, the pandemic right now is a little tougher as fresh graduates. So I wish, and we're looking at LinkedIn, right, to help us upscale our opportunities a little and perhaps improve our personal branding in that sense.
Okay,
So that
fantastic.
is my personal objective on LinkedIn, for instance. I don't have a premium account, so I would like to manage with what I have as
Sure,
of now. So
sure. Okay, well, happy to help.
that's what.
And congratulations on your recent graduation. That's fantastic.
Thank
Um,
you, Derek.
Okay, the way that I describe LinkedIn, first of all, I describe LinkedIn as being the world's largest database of businesses, their owners, and their employees. And when you think about it, that's pretty much exactly what it is. It has its social media side, and it also has its profile side. And your
Right.
profile, you can pretty much customize to almost any extent that you like. You can do a lot more with a LinkedIn profile than you can with your Facebook profile, for example. Now, the way I see it, there are two different types of LinkedIn profile. There is the profile for job seekers, which is what you have. And this is the kind of profile that basically has everything on there that supports or adds to the information that you might have on your resume. Okay. Obviously, a
Right.
resume can
Okay.
only be a limited length, so many pages, and your
Yeah.
LinkedIn profile can have a lot more
A
information on
lot
it to
more. Yeah,
support what's on your resume. So that's important.
that's true.
Um, the other kind of LinkedIn profile is the profile for people who are in business, for people who are trying to increase interest in their products, their services, their business, etc. Both of these particular profile styles, the messaging on those profiles ultimately should be all about WIFT, or what's in it for them, what's in it for the audience, what's in it for the reader of your LinkedIn
Right.
profile. Because when you think about it, what's your objective?
Essentially, I'm promoting ourselves.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
ultimately your objective is either to generate the contact, generate the call, the email, the message in your inbox, to give the viewer, the reader of your profile, enough information so that they want to know more about you. Okay, let's say you just
right.
applied for a particular job role. You're very interested in this job, so the HR department or the person who's interviewing you, etc., they want to know more about you. So one of the places they're going to look is your LinkedIn profile. So
Right.
therefore, we would ask the question, what are they going to see? Okay.
Okay.
And so with that in mind, let's start from the very top down. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to share a
Share
screen
the
with you.
screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see your profile on my screen right now? Can you?
Yes, I can.
You can? Okay, great. Right.
Yay, that's me.
Okay, so up the top here, you notice that you haven't got yourself a banner image, okay?
Right. Oh, yes.
And
Now
your banner
understand.
image is a little bit like the cover of a book. It's what
Okay.
entices the viewer or the reader
Okay.
of your LinkedIn profile to want to know more about you, okay, to want to read
Right.
further, okay?
Okay.
If you can imagine, you walk into a bookstore, it's the cover of that book, the title of that book that grabs your attention. You might grab the book from the shelf, you'll flick through it, and then you'll make a decision if you're going to purchase that book. Well, your banner image is one of the first things that people see when they open up your LinkedIn profile. So we want to
Right.
entice them to read more, to know more about you. Okay. Now there's a couple of platforms you can use to build yourself a banner image. One of them is called snapper.com and the other one is called canva.com. A lot of people have used Canva previously. I used it for many years. It's a great platform. I actually switched over to Snapper because it allows you to download a high-res image. Okay, so let's have a look at Snapper. This is Snapper here. Okay, and you can set yourself up a free account. And in here, we want to put the measurements of 1584 by 396 pixels, I think it is. Okay, and you can see here, it creates a blank template for us. And so what we can literally do is we can go over here. And is there a particular industry that you would like to work with?
Energy related, that's what I'm looking at.
Energy related.
Yeah.
So let's just type in energy, see what we come up with. All right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so you can see here, let's say you want to work in the, here we go. So this is what we can do.
This is snapper.com, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, might make that a little bit bigger. So as you can see, it's as easy to use as what I'm doing right now. Okay, and then if we want, we might overlay some text onto that. So I've got here, I'll change the color of that text so that it stands out a little bit. And we can put whatever, interested in the energy sector or passionate.
Right, okay.
Let's go passionate about.
Okay.
About the energy sector, okay. So then we can enlarge that. And it's literally as easy to use as what you see here. Now, ultimately, with this banner, what we want to have in there is some kind of key benefit statement aimed towards your target audience. Okay, and that's something that the individual needs to think about a little bit and just figure out, okay, what's something that I can say that's going to grab their attention, that's going to demonstrate my interest in that particular area that I want them to know about me. Okay, but that gives you an idea of just how you can build yourself a banner image. And then literally what you do is you literally just save it, and then when you download, you've got these options: web optimized JPEG, high res PNG, etc. And so you literally just download the high res and then you upload that to your LinkedIn profile, slot it straight in, and there's your banner image. Okay, it's as easy as that. All right, let's go back here. Now, your face pic. Your face pic is a nice face pic. There's nothing wrong with it. I see some good face pics. I see some terrible face pics, and I see everything in between.
Well, I'm honored that my picture falls into the okay category.
Now, face pics are a little bit of a hard one because number one, it's very difficult to turn around to somebody and say you need a better face pic.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't for the life of me like to say that to anybody, but there's a solution, and it's a very good one at that. Here it is here. It's called Photo Feeler. And this is where you can upload your face pic to Photo Feeler, and members of the public will actually vote on it for you. And they'll give you some feedback on it. Okay. For example, they will tell you how confident you look, how authentic you look, how influential you look, or how likable you look, how trustworthy you look. So you can get invaluable feedback on, is that the best face pic for you to use? Right,
and so are these audiences arbitrary, or is there a specific number of people that we're looking at for
what you can literally, they have a free version where I think you get 20 votes, and then you can pay, I think it's $20 and get 100 votes.
Okay.
So you can get some invaluable feedback on whether or not that's the right face pic for you. Interestingly enough, the other thing that I'll just log in here. Okay, you can see here, I've uploaded 2 versions of exactly the same face pic, but I've removed the background from one of them. Okay.
Yeah, I see that.
and you can see there's a slight difference in the scoring. Okay, so the picture without the background scores a little bit better, and so that's why people say it's better to have a clear, non-distracting background. Okay, and there's proof of it right there. The first one, I paid a small premium, $20, $25, whatever it was, and I got 154 votes. The second one, I used a slightly cheaper premium and got 80 votes. And so it's a good split test. You can see the difference in the results there. So yeah, have a look at Photo Feeler. It's a great platform, very easy way to figure out if that's the right face pick for you to use. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Next, we're going to have a look at your headline. Okay, now over here, as you see, I've just copied your headline. This is a platform called Sharethrough. And this was this was
I remember you sharing with me this link before, the peer rating, right?
Yeah, and this is really cool because this platform was originally designed so that people could perfect their headlines for their Google ads or their Facebook ads or their ads anywhere online. And it's great for perfecting your headline for your LinkedIn profile. So what we do here is we just paste that in there. And here it will analyze your headline. It gives you a headline quality score of 68, which is actually pretty good.
All right.
It highlights some of the strengths
and
gives you some suggestions. And here you can see it uses an algorithm with over 300 unique variables. And then down here, you've got an engagement score. You have an impression score. The impression score is great. And then here we have a history. Okay, so based on that history, we can make minor changes to your headline. And based on the changes in the scoring, we can see if we're taking that headline in the right or the wrong direction. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Is there a particular role, a particular type?
Yes. So the role that I'm looking at essentially project engineering or sales engineering, but I think due to the limited number of space I was allowed to put in for my headline, I just included project engineer. So that was the role that I'm looking at is the last point. Yeah, aspiring project engineer. I mentioned aspiring because I've yet to be one. So I'm looking forward for roles related to project engineering.
Okay, so when a company is looking for a project engineer, what would be some of the talents or qualities in a project engineer that company would be looking for?
I'm seeing multitasking, time management, essentially, and able to work and adapt to challenging environments alongside working with your team. Yeah, so that's why I had team player included as one of the key qualities. Okay.
Sorry. Passionate, motivated, and reliable project engineer. So I'm going to remove that.
All right. Okay.
And let's see how that comes up. Okay, so we'll scroll down.
Well, okay.
Headline quality score's gone up a little bit. Engagement score, I think, is around the same. Oh no, engagement score's gone up a little bit, and the impression is up to 85. So we started off with overall 68, 53, 77. Okay, and now we've gone up to overall 72, 57, and 85. Okay,
amazing.
so that's not too bad. And so basically all one literally needs to do is just make minor changes and see if those changes are taking that headline in the right direction or the wrong direction.
Right.
Okay.
I see it.
All right. So let's go back to your profile here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bring you and I back down here so the audience can relate to us a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so here in your About section, you're allowed up to 2,000 characters. And I highly recommend that you use as many of those as possible.
All right, okay.
If I open up my LinkedIn profile, okay, you can see here, pardon me, that when you're setting up your About section, it's a good idea to check your LinkedIn profile and your About section, how it displays on a mobile, on a cell phone, versus how it displays on your desktop or laptop, because they display a little bit differently. And this very first line of yours here, you'll find that probably only about that much of your first line will display on a mobile phone or a cell phone.
Right, okay.
And so I like to recommend that you have an attention-grabbing headline as that first line, okay? And then you can break it down after that and separate it and just lay it out so that people know exactly who you are, what you're passionate about, what you're motivated about. Try to give them some insight into what excites you about their particular industry.
Got it.
Okay, that's probably the best I can suggest. And then ultimately, and I'll show you here, you can see how I've got this laid out. Okay, it's very easy to skim over. It's very easy to read. For example, you might put in there some of the areas that you're passionate about or that you specialize in. Okay, it might have been some research you did during your degree or something like that. Okay, and then down here, some social proof, calls to action, and then this is really important. Add your contact details at the end. Okay, I'm well aware that your contact details can be up here in the contact section, but I believe strongly that you want to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to contact you after they've just read all about you, what it is that you offer, etc. Especially if it's the HR department or somebody who has just interviewed you. Make it easy for them to contact you. All right.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying here. Is put your contact details down the end there. Try to include anything that provides any kind of social proof. Okay, so it might be if you did a case study, a research project of some kind, and you have some results from that. Did you do anything like that during your degree?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I've done several projects during my internship as well. I could include it in my. It's just a brief overview, right, of what I've done.
Yeah.
If you mentioned proof to support the skills that I've mentioned. Okay.
So you might describe that a little bit in that about section.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I figured if we were to just update it in the skills section, the about would just be a few paragraphs, whatnot.
You've got 2,000 characters to use in there.
Okay. Okay.
Remember,
maximize it then.
Beg your pardon?
Maximize the number of word characters.
Absolutely. Use as many of them as you can. Let me put it to you this way. Your resume has to be short. It's generally believed between 3 pages and not too much longer than that, because if it's 10 pages, for example, if you can imagine the person who's doing the interviewing, they could have 50 resumes to read through or 100 resumes to read through. And the ones that are too long, you know where they wind up.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Right. So your LinkedIn profile can have on it everything that your resume doesn't have. Okay, so that's why I strongly recommend you use as many of those 2,000 characters as possible. And then underneath that about section, I'll show you here, you can have this one. You can have a featured section.
Okay, how do you
do that? Hang on a minute. You add it in.
Okay.
Here we go. There you go. So you just add the featured section in there, and you can edit those. You can move them around. So and so in that featured section, you might have case studies, testimonials,
articles that you've written.
Articles that you've written and published. Yep, absolutely. Research projects that you might have done, anything that adds to your profile. Okay. So, and that just literally slides straight in there. All right.
Okay.
If you've published an article on LinkedIn, for example, anybody can publish an article on LinkedIn. Put that in there. All right. Okay. In your experience section, again, you're allowed up to 2,000 characters, and it was an honor to be part of this.
Right.
So I would add some more media in here, though.
Okay.
And to give you an example, here you can see here, I've got literally 24 videos in there. So you can click on any of those. They're all linked across from YouTube.
Okay.
All right. And you can have as many as you like. But what it does is it gives the viewer, the reader of your LinkedIn profile, some more insights about you and what you're all about, what you're passionate about, motivated about, etc.
Got it.
The other thing that you can do is you can share documents. Okay, so these are actually PowerPoints, and they're saved as PDFs, and they've actually been set up on SlideShare, which is owned by LinkedIn, and you can link those across to your profile as well. Okay, so, and they just make your profile that much more interesting to the viewer, to the reader of your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so try to add as much media as you can down here, whether that's images, certificates, videos, documents in the forms of PDFs on SlideShare, anything that you like, but it does make your profile that much more interesting to the viewer of your profile. All
right.
Okay. Even here, as a community volunteer, you can add pictures of the work that you're doing there.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think
I do see the pictures come along with the caption. So would that needed to be amended as well on my end, or can I just leave it captionless?
You can put captions on them, or you can leave them off. It's entirely up to you.
Okay.
Yeah. But interesting, what you'll note here is that the title or the name of the file, you can see how that comes up there. So you can call that file anything that you like, as you know.
Okay.
Right. So maybe think about that when you're naming those files before you upload them to LinkedIn.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I just included everything.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's great. Okay, now what you'll find here, skills and endorsements. LinkedIn is also a tool that people can use to get the conversation started. Okay, and one of the ways that people do that is they will visit your profile, they will endorse some of your skills, and then they'll send you a message, and it might say, "Hi, Jasmine, I hope you don't mind that I endorsed your skills, by the way," etc., etc., etc. Okay, so they're using that to get your attention.
I see. Right? Okay.
So, and anybody you're connected to can endorse your skills, and there's a fair bit of that goes on. But having said that, this one here, recommendations. Okay, these are your testimonials. So you want to try and get as many recommendations as possible. You can get them from people that you've worked for, but also people that you've worked with, colleagues, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Because what literally happens is when somebody visits your LinkedIn profile, the first thing that's going to grab their attention is your banner image, then your face pic, then your headline. Okay, and then they're going to scroll down. They might have a look at your about section. They might have a look at your experience section. In many cases, they're going to scroll down to here and they want to see how many recommendations you've got. Okay, these are your testimonials. So you want to try and get as many of them as possible. As I said, you can get them from people you've worked for, or also people you've worked with, colleagues, etc. People you may have worked on assignments, concepts, projects, even things slightly outside of work, such as good causes, such as your volunteer experience. charities, sporting clubs, etc.
Okay.
You want to try and get as many of them as possible. These are social proof, and you can never have too much social proof.
Okay.
Okay. Now there's a trick to getting them.
Yeah. All right. I've never had the courage to ask for a recommendation.
Yeah. Ask. Okay.
But how do you go ahead and ask immediately, or wouldn't it have to be a two-way
The best way to ask, is literally just to turn around to somebody and tell them the truth. Say, can you do me a favor, please? I need more recommendations for my LinkedIn profile. Could I ask you to give me a LinkedIn recommendation, please?
Okay, got it.
Just ask them nicely like that in your own style, so to speak. But yeah, the key is you just have to ask, right? And you'll get some people turn around and say, yeah, sure, not a problem. And when they do, then what you do is you go to their profile and you click on the more button here, and see here where it says request a recommendation.
Request a recommendation.
Yep. And so you click on that and you follow the prompts.
Okay.
So you select the relationship, and then like so, you select whatever your position is at the time, and click on next. This is the standard message that LinkedIn provides. Yep.
Yeah.
And you can edit that to however you would like it to read. Okay. And then you click on send. And so they will then wind up with a link inside their LinkedIn inbox from you where you've requested a recommendation from them. Okay, so all they literally have to do is click on that link and write out that recommendation for you, and you then get to review that recommendation before you add it to your profile. Okay, so it's as easy as that. Yeah, but try to get as many of those as possible. Ultimately, you want to have received a lot more than what you've given.
I receive more than the given. Okay.
And then really importantly, try not to have recommendations as a trade. So in other words, try not to have the same names from people that have given you a recommendation to people you've given a recommendation to. Try not to have matching names in there, because people can see that's a trade.
Okay.
All right. So that's what I mean. You want to have received a lot more than what you've given. All right. Let's have a look. I see that you post, so that's great. Yeah. Let's have a look at your content.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Curious chatters. Okay, this is good. Okay. 31.
Have you tagged in that as well, Derick? The recent post.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So let's open it up here. Okay, this is great. Okay, and what I like to see with content is interaction. Okay, this is another tool within LinkedIn that you can use to get the conversation started, that you can use to establish, build, and nurture relationships with people. And so the important part of that is exactly what you're doing here, where you're replying to people's comments. Okay, so that's great to see. Now, I'm just going to shut off some of these ones up here, because I'm going to show you a little something. Okay, see here how you got 39 comments and you got 31 likes.
Right.
Okay, you can click on that 31, and here you'll see that it opens up a list of all the people who have liked your post. Okay, now you can use this to increase your connections and increase your followers. And the way that you do that, you'll see here up the top, it lists, and this is doing this from my profile, my account. So it's listing the people that I am connected to on a first level. And then after that, it lists the second and third level connections. Okay, as you can see there. All right. So what one can literally do is right click, left click, right click, left click, right click, left click. Left click. And you can see here, it opens up their profile, and I can just go down to here. I can click on follow.
Follow. Right, I see that.
This person I'm already following.
Following.
Follow again.
Okay.
And follow again. And so what will happen is these people will get a notification from LinkedIn that tells them that I've just started following them. And in many cases, they will follow me back. Okay, and so this is how you increase your followers. You will also get a portion of these people who actually reach out and connect with you. So then you can decide, okay, sure, I'll connect with you. All right, it's entirely up to you who you connect with. But that's just one way you can do that, where literally just right click, left click. Okay, right click, left click, right click, left click, and it opens up their profile. Easy as that.
Got it.
All right. Okay. Now let's have a look back here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, one particular thing with the link, LinkedIn, just like Facebook, wants to keep you on their platform for as long as possible. Okay. And so any post with an external link, a post that effectively is taking people away from the LinkedIn platform, LinkedIn will reduce the reach of that post. Okay.
How is that? Sorry.
See here how it has an external link, even though it's a shortened link.
Yeah.
In the body copy of the message.
Right.
Because that link is effectively taking people away from the LinkedIn platform when they click on it. And LinkedIn wants to keep people on their platform for as long as possible. LinkedIn will actually reduce the reach of that post. All right. So you may have seen this before, where you'll have somebody in the intro or the body copy of their post, and they might say link in the comments below. Okay. So what they'll do is they'll use that link, but they'll put it down here in the comments.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that kind of post, a post that's structured in that way, doesn't have its reach reduced as much as what it does where you've got the link in the body copy of the post.
Right. Okay. Point taken.
Okay. The other thing I should also point out, here you've got 5 hashtags. That's fine. That's spot on. LinkedIn likes to see 3 to 5. Or have recently heard 6, but basically I've always gone on the belief of 3 to 5 hashtags maximum. Anything more than that, and LinkedIn starts to think that you're a bit of a hashtag spammer, as they look at it,
okay.
And they actually reduce the reach of your post. So there's all these rules within LinkedIn that unfortunately they don't really publish. People have to research this and do split tests and figure it out. Okay. Let's have a look further down. Okay, this is great. Okay, and again, 27 and 4, that's cool. Yep, nice. Okay. Okay, that's uploaded directly to LinkedIn, and that's a share, so that's great.
That's a share.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a share as well, yeah.
The key with content in general is to try and add content that adds value. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop the screen share. So we'll be back to normal. There you go. Our lovely faces again. And okay, now there's bound to be some areas that I haven't covered. Are there any questions that you would like to ask me that I can help you with?
Essentially, with the post writing, is there any? I was wondering, apart from how do I increase my engagement with my posts that apart from the hashtags, if I'm not mistaken, right, and the relevant topics, right, to gauge their interest. I was wondering if there's any other way that I could get a hold that that probably read mine instead of scrolling down.
Sure.
Balance.
First of all, there's a couple of things. Try to work out a content plan or content strategy. Try to figure out what content that you want to post ahead of time. So write down a list of the different types of content that you would like to post and when you're going to post that. Okay.
Got it.
And that way you basically do a little bit of planning. Okay. You know what content you're going to post for the week coming up. All right.
Okay.
And then the next thing is try to post content that adds value without selling.
All right, without promoting in a sense.
Yes.
Okay.
that adds value without selling. Okay. Because there's an unwritten rule with LinkedIn that you don't sell on the platform. Okay. Or if you do it at a bare minimum. But basically try not to sell. Instead, focus on building relationships with people so that you can take that conversation to the next level, which is a phone call, a Zoom call, face-to-face meeting, etc.
Okay. All right.
The other thing too, which will help increase interest in your content, increase interaction and interest in your content, is to interact with others.
Like the posting and the liking and the constant commenting.
Now, when you like somebody's post, yeah, that's pretty quick and easy. But when you comment on that and you tag people in the comment, okay, you know how to tag people in the comments? Okay. Yeah. So just tag them in the comment, and that will increase the interaction of that particular post, because people will see, okay, Jasmine has taken the time to interact with my content. Who is Jasmine Roy? Okay, I'll check out her profile. Oh, she's interacted with my post again. Okay, and so the more you interact with people, the more they get to know you, so more of them will come back and start interacting with your content.
Right, so it's a give and take situation.
Very much a give and a take. Okay, you've got to give before you get. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how frequent, you mentioned about the content build-up strategy, right? How frequent would I need to engage with the posting? Should it be bi-weekly, weekly, or daily, or every hour?
That can literally be different for everybody. The key is a couple of things. If you want a post to really do well, the power hitters or the power posters, the people who put up a post and it gets engagements in the hundreds or sometimes even in the thousands, they're working those posts. Okay, so for example, they'll put up a post and for their first hour, they're trying to get 500 views on that post. And so they're madly replying to all the comments on that post that they're getting in the first hour, and that tells the LinkedIn algorithm that it's a popular post, and so the LinkedIn algorithm will then push it out to more and more people. Okay.
Right.
Having said that, we're all busy. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Sometimes we don't have time to do all of that kind of stuff. So you can come back to a post a day later or within a couple of days later, and you can reply to your comments then. Right. But ultimately, number one, make sure you do reply to people's comments. And number two, try to reply to people's comments as quickly as possible after they've commented. But if you do leave it for a day or so, that's okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yay. That's my biggest concern, essentially, how often and how much should I be interacting. But yes, I have a clearer view now.
Yeah.
On that note.
Cool.
Great.
Cool.
That's it from my end.
Is there any other question that you would like to ask?
Right. I was, in terms of I was wondering if I were to update past experiences, like past involvements as part of my content writing. Would that be?
You can update previous.
You were mentioning something about relevancy, right?
Yeah.
So if they were past experience, would that still be considered relevant to?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can update previous experience sections on your LinkedIn profile. You might add some media, some images, certificates or videos to that particular experience section. Doesn't matter if you left that job or that responsibility or that role a year ago, let's say. You can still add, update it and make it more interesting to the viewer, to the reader of your profile. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One other point that I should make to you as well is if you're applying for a job at a particular company, you can go to that company's company page.
Right.
If you're interested in working for a particular company, go to that company's company page and start to interact with their content. But don't only like it, make sure you comment, because what you'll find on many company pages, because it's a company page, the content does not get much comments. It might get a reasonable amount of likes, but it won't get much comments.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
And so that creates an opportunity. If you start to comment on it, guess who stands out?
Right. Okay. I see what you did there.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, I know particularly for larger companies, I know their social media manager, let's say, is probably looking after that company page. But you can also search for the employees within that company, find out who the head of the HR department is. And I've actually seen it before where a person who's interested in a job at a particular company has tagged the head of the HR department in their comments on their company page.
Is that allowed?
There's no rule against it.
Okay. Right.
There's no rule against it. It's a very individual thing. And obviously you want to think about, okay, what are you going to say in your comment? And that, yeah, just be a little bit strategic with that. But yeah, it's a very individual thing. Some people are happy to do that. Other people are not.
Got it.
Yeah, but certainly interact and make comments if you like.
So I was also wondering, right? For example, if a company of interest appeals to me, and my connection is one of the employees of that company,
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there was a structure or format that I should follow in terms of ethics, right? If we were to send a personal note to the employee asking about the work culture, or if there's any openings available, or what are the ways that I could get over to the HR. I didn't proceed to do that just yet because I didn't want to leave a wrong impression. Essentially,
Sure.
I felt that I didn't want to seem too desperate, but at the same time, it's a form of networking right there. So I was wondering, what would be the appropriate way, to get information from the employee in that sense?
There's a right way and there's a wrong way of doing it. Desperate is, hi, I'd love to work for your company. I need a job. Okay. That's the wrong way of going about it.
It's really upfront.
Yes. A better way of going about it, first of all, when you reach out, when you request to connect with somebody, when you send them an invitation to connect, send them a personalized message. You've got up to 300 characters in there. So send them a personalized message. Give them a reason why you want to connect with them. Okay. And then after you've connected with them, work on building that relationship a little bit. Okay. So send them a thank you message for connecting. And then just look for mutual areas of interest on their profile. You can search them elsewhere if you want to, but try to find some mutual areas of interest that you can use to basically build on that relationship with them.
Got it.
Okay. Even ask them about their company as part of that.
Okay.
Okay. So build on that relationship, and then literally, like anything in this world, as the saying goes, you can have anything you want in this world, provided you know how to ask.
A really good take there.
Yeah. So then think to yourself, okay, how do I ask this person? Do they know anybody in the HR department? Okay. And let's face it, if they're employed by that particular company, they got employed there somehow. So they probably were interviewed by somebody in the HR department, or the director or the owner or something like that, depending on the size of the company. So the key to that is then to ask them, say to them, I'm really interested in working for a company like yours. Do you know who I would talk to about that?
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Just keep it subtle, gentle, but on point. Okay, but the key...
You're not beating around the bush that as much. You're going straight up to the point.
Yeah. People on LinkedIn, it's a wonderful community. Most of them can spot a sales pitch a mile away. Okay, and there's an unwritten rule, don't sell on LinkedIn. So the key is, okay, take all of that out of it and just be genuine, be authentic, focus on building relationships with people, and just be straightforward, but think about how you're going to say things.
Got it. Thank you for that, Derick. I have another question. It's regarding the About Me section.
Sure.
I also had the impression, assuming that that section was an elevator pitch, so hence why I figured that if I could keep it short, it would be of convenience for whoever is it that's looking at my profile. It just provides them a gist to what my profile has to offer prior to following or connecting with me. So that was what I had in mind earlier. But so in your opinion, it wouldn't necessarily need to be an elevator pitch, but it could be a little preview of what it's like basically a summary of what your profile has to offer,
Yeah.
so that it would be easier.
Look at it this way. When you think about your objective for your LinkedIn profile, okay, as a job seeker, your objective is to entice the viewer to want to know more about you and to try and have them want to reach out to you, to want to get in touch, possibly even to want to know enough to set up an interview.
Right.
Okay, so if you have an elevator pitch versus 2,000 characters, which do you think is going to help in that objective the most?
Okay.
Obviously the 2,000 characters.
Right.
Okay. Now the other thing too with people's LinkedIn profiles, and this is a really important point to understand, just like your career, your LinkedIn profile is a work in progress. You'll make updates to it over time. You'll make changes to it over time. You'll make improvements to it over time.
Constantly updating it, right?
Yeah, not necessarily constantly on a weekly basis kind of thing, but you will make updates to it every so often, right? As your career moves forwards, okay? You might change direction here or there, or you might get a promotion or change your responsibilities or something like that, or even change your interests, okay? All sorts of areas where you might want to update different parts of your LinkedIn profile, and that's okay, because that's how people go through life.
I see.
Okay, so what my point is, what I'm saying is, nobody's LinkedIn profile is 100% perfect first time or every time.
Okay.
All right, so just do what you can and take it from there.
All right. Got it.
All right.
Thank you so much for the advice there, Derick.
All right.
I hadn't had any idea on how to upgrade my profile.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to be able to help. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you guys have got some insights about how to go about setting up your LinkedIn profile, some of those amazing tools that you can use. And at the end of this video, I will put a link where you can download the cheat sheet that I'm about to send through to Jasmine, and that will give you further insights into exactly what to do to set up your LinkedIn profiles. So happy to help. And Jasmine, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Derick. I appreciate this opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.